Kia ora everyone and welcome to today's Dream Team session brought to you by the Sir Peter Blake Trust. My name is Mike McRoberts and these Dream Team sessions feature inspiring Kiwis who want to encourage Kiwi kids to follow their dreams. Thanks so much for joining us. These inspiring people follow in the footsteps of one of our greatest leaders, Sir Peter Blake, who led Team New Zealand to victory in the America's Cup for the first time in 1995. Sir Peter was also a leader for the environmental work he did, in particular encouraging people to care for our oceans. Today we're going to hear from 16-year-old Nico Porteous, who made history this year at the Winter Olympics. Nico became New Zealand's youngest ever Olympic medalist, winning a bronze medal in free ski halfpipe. He began skiing at the age of 4 and currently lives in Wanaka. We're thrilled to have Nico with us today to share his story. Welcome, Nico.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Well, I think probably a lot of kids started skiing early at age 4, but not all of them go on to win an Olympic medal. I mean, how did that change for you?
I mean, growing up, it was the same as any other kid who started skiing at 4. I would just go up on the weekends and ski with my family. I think it took a turning point when I was about 12 or 13 and my coach mentioned to me, oh, would you like to try and go to the Olympics? And from then on, I started really, you know, putting in the work and putting in those hard hours to make sure that I was ready and prepared.
So at quite an early age, going to the Olympics was a goal for you to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, the Olympics wasn't a goal that I grew up from the start, but it came into my head when I was about 12 or 13.
And then when you decide that you want to go to the Olympics, to the Winter Olympics, do you then start thinking about what you might do at the Winter Olympics?
Yes, I'd always been like a freestyle skier, and so that was obviously what I really wanted to do. And so, yeah.
But in terms of, you know, not just competing, but actually winning a medal?
I mean, it was never really 100% on my mind that I really wanted to win a medal. And of course, it was in the back of my mind, like any Olympian going to the Olympics. But yeah, it was kind of just me going there, and I had an original goal of really trying to make finals.
Because you're very young and, you know, this was, I guess, meant to be an experience for you to take away and maybe come back in another 4 years' time. But tell me about the feeling of being in that New Zealand uniform, of representing our country at a Winter Games at a stage like that. I
mean, that's an unreal feeling. We had this saying as part of the Olympic build-up was earn the fern, and so that kind of meant to us you know, what it felt like to wear the fern on your chest and to be standing at the Olympics, you know, looking down and seeing that I was in New Zealand uniform, and especially because it was in all black, you know, it made me feel really special and that I was part of something big.
I was lucky enough to be over there and caught up with your family, and that must have been tremendous to have that sort of family support there.
Yeah, it was so cool. I mean, I had my uncle and auntie there, came over from London, and my mum and dad, which was awesome. They don't usually... I mean, it's usually only one of them who comes and watch me compete, but to have, you know, both my uncle and auntie and my mum and dad was insane.
So when you look at getting to that point, I mean, were there any obstacles that you had to overcome to reach that point where you were at the start line for your event at the Winter Games? Yeah,
so obviously the build-up to the Olympics has a lot of ups and downs. I think there was a major downfall right before, about 6 weeks before the Olympics, where I hurt my knee. And it was very close to me not being able to compete in the Olympics. So that was something which I really had to overcome, and it ended up being a week. I had a week. If I had delayed my rehab by a week, I wouldn't have been in the Olympics.
Wow.
So it was really close, and I had to work super hard.
How do you overcome that mentally?
Yeah, so that was a thing which, looking back on, I'm not sure how I did. But I chatted to my sports psych, Dave Collins, and he was telling me that to always be one step ahead of my rehab in my mind, and just to stay strong and don't ever believe that you're not going to be able to do what you were doing before you got injured.
So to keep the dream going?
Yeah, to keep the dream alive, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so you're standing at the start line. You know you've got all of New Zealand watching. You've got all of the world watching this event, and you go out and blitz it. How was that?
Yeah, that was a moment which I'll always remember. And to have the whole of the country, or hopefully the whole of the country watching, I'm not sure if they were, but to have a few people watching and to, I guess, land what I dreamt of was amazing, and it just showed me that what happens when you put in a little bit of hard work, and it really made it all worth it.
Did you know when you'd finished that event that you'd done well?
Yeah, I mean, when I finished the event, it didn't really sink in that I'd won a medal until I had it hanging around my neck at the medal ceremony, and that was insane to look down and see, that big thing of, Olympic goodness hanging off my neck was insane. And even still to this day, sometimes when I, bring out my medal for special occasions, I look at it and I'm like, wow, that's actually mine and that's always going to be mine. I can't believe it.
Because it's an unbelievably competitive event, isn't it? I mean, you are up against the best in the world.
Yeah, so I think if you look at the photo of me on the podium at the bottom of the course, there was number 1 and 2, and then I was number 15, and so they were actually the world rankings. And so it was incredible to be not only competing against people who are the best in my sport, but also to be there and experience the Olympics with all the other different sports, if you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean, and I think your performance and what you did there really affected a lot of people back home, especially kids at school who have written in some questions. Do you mind if I ask you a couple of those?
Sure.
Okay, so the first one, and this is, you've touched on it a little bit, but how did you feel when you won that medal?
Yeah, like I said, it didn't really sink in until the medal ceremony, but when it did sink in, that was kind of like, I was super happy that I'd won the medal, but the medal wasn't all for me. It was, what really made me happy was the amount of work I'd put in, and for it to, work out and for me to achieve something that I never thought I could was really special. And I was just shocked.
Another question here, and look, I can completely understand this because I saw the steepness of the slope that you ski on.
Yeah.
I'm not great with heights, but here's a question from one of the students. They say, do you find skiing scary at all?
Of course, yeah, it's definitely scary. I mean, I even look at what I do and kind of like, why do I do that? But we have techniques to get over that stuff, and there's a really cool feeling of once you overcome that fear and you do what you've been trying to do and what you're really scared of, and you don't feel it in any other way.
And what does it feel like just before you do that half-pipe run? What are you thinking about?
I'm scared. I'm terrified, yeah.
So is it about controlling the nerves?
Yeah, so it's about controlling the nerves, and it's definitely scary, and nerves are a big factor for me in that I sometimes vomit right before I'm about to do my run, and so that can deter me sometimes, but I just keep my mind on track and really go for it.
Wow. I want to ask you too about the support you've had, because I think this is important for people to know. When people like yourself do really well, when they achieve things, often it's been because they've had great support around them.
Yeah, I mean, I have very supportive parents. My parents have backed me from day one. Even in the hard times where I thought that maybe I wasn't gonna, be able to achieve what I wanted to achieve, and that was, it's huge, the amount of support that they've given me, but also from High Performance Sport New Zealand and from my sponsors, especially Red Bull.
Your family was so proud. I remember seeing them, and even just to be there, to have you as a New Zealand athlete at a Winter Games, they were so proud. Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it was so cool to have them there.
And what does it mean being a Kiwi on the world stage?
I think whenever a New Zealander rocks up at a world, like at a world stage competition, everyone looks at them as, they're not here just to mess around. They're here and they're going to try their absolute best to win. And I think we have that persona around New Zealanders, that we are there to try 120%. And if we're going to leave it all out there.
You're absolutely right. I felt that too, that there was quite a bit of swagger about the New Zealand team, but also people like them as well. People like the Kiwis. Yeah,
I think we're generally a really friendly nation, and I think we get along with everyone. We don't conflict any other country's beliefs, and so we're kind of neutral. We're neutral players.
What about your age? I mean, what does that mean for you, having already won an Olympic medal? Can you relax now and and put your feet up, or what does it mean for you going forward?
I think it's not going to change who I am. I'm just going to keep being myself and really just try to get better and try to get better in life in general. Try to be a better person. yeah, so yeah, I guess it isn't going to change me at all. Yeah, I'm just going to be the normal person I was before I left a career.
Well, it's fantastic that you had that dream so many years ago and you realised that you actually accomplished it. If there are some kids out there today who are watching this, what would be your advice in terms of planning a pathway, in terms of achieving a goal?
I think one thing would be to never say no and always give things a try, like what Sir Peter Blake did. He always said, you know, he always gave everything a try. And I think that's definitely something which I've lived by. And every challenge that has been put in front of me, I've given it my best shot. Even if it didn't work out, I know I've tried.
And you've already talked about when obstacles come along, to get over them.
Yeah. You just got to break through those barriers and then work your way. And then, you know, you might come across a new barrier, but then you just break through that again and keep progressing and getting better. Okay,
so what's on the immediate horizon for you in terms of your career?
So I am hopefully going to do a few filming projects this year in the New Zealand winter. But then my next competition is going to be Junior World Champs in September up at Cardrona. So that's really exciting to have that come to my home mountain. And to see all my fellow competitors come and compete at what I call home.
Yeah, in front of a home audience. That's amazing.
Yeah, it'll be super cool and I'm really excited.
Fantastic. And does being an Olympic medalist make it easier or harder?
I think it will put a lot more pressure on myself. I don't know. We'll see when the time comes, I guess. Yeah, I can't really tell now.
Just another obstacle to get over, yeah?
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. It's been so good talking to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Nico, for sharing your story today. You're inspiring the next generation of Kiwi leaders, and we're excited to see where their dream takes them. If you're watching this at home, now's the time to think about your own dreams, both for yourself and New Zealand. We encourage you to write it down as it's the first step towards achieving your goal. You can submit your dream at www.dreambank.co.nz. Remember to check out our other Dream Team sessions with incredible Kiwis at sirpeterblaketrust.org. Enjoy Leadership Week, everyone, and remember, dream big and believe you can.